Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. We're going to be talking about transit Black Moon Lilith, square opposition or inconjunct one's natal midheaven. Now, when we're talking about transits that involve the Black Moon Lilith, it can be about trauma, the negative manifestation of the sign, nefarious and fixated energy. That may, when you have the transit of the Black Moon Lilith basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal midheaven, well, it may manifest in trauma. Well, first I'm going to be kind of rewind. When I say basically adverse aspect, okay, squares and oppositions in astrology, of course, those aspects are negative and adverse. Now, the inconjunct aspect, though it's neutral, keep in mind, a neutral aspect can have good and bad qualities, coupled with the fact that an inconjunct can often require an adjustment or a transition, and that in turn can cause some exasperation and tension. And so basically, collectively, I do see this as an adverse transit. Now, anyway, when transit Black Moon Lilith basically makes an adverse aspect to one's natal midheaven, well, it may manifest in trauma, suffering, the negative manifestation of the place of the sign, also fixated, nefarious and fixated energy that may conflict with one's career. And it can be, naturally, if you're enduring some kind of physical related trauma, it can have a negative effect on one's career, because of course it's harder to be productive in a career. In most careers, if you're experiencing physical suffering and pain, a lot of the thing about it is most jobs, most careers require certain physical ability. And the thing is, let's say, for example, the transit Black Moon Lilith is in Gemini. There might be some trauma, or you might be dealing with excruciating pain associated with the arms, the shoulders, the hands, the nerves. There may even be issues with the lungs or breathing. And these things, of course, are going to conflict with your career. Now, you could be experiencing those issues even when this transit isn't occurring, but it may be more intensified at this time, more so than most other times. Now, as far as this transit goes, now another thing too is, of course, physical emotional trauma can challenge your responsibilities. If you have the midheaven in Pisces, say, you might have some responsibilities to the less fortunate or the impoverished, or maybe to some metaphysical community, which can include astrology, in some cases, or you're having to take maybe photographs. Pisces is associated with photography, as well as some responsibilities to spirituality. And naturally, if you're going through some emotional or physical suffering, it can challenge those matters. And the thing about it is too, and the thing with this too, the Black Moon Lilith is also connected with the negative manifestation of the sign. And if you're dealing with some energy, that's very negative at this time from this Black Moon Lilith, and say if the transit Black Moon Lilith is in Aquarius, it might be maybe you're dealing with some overly rebellious or idiosyncratic or rebellious energy. It may not be from you. Let's say if you have the transit of the Black Moon Lilith in your fifth house, it could be a child or a lover. And those things could, naturally conflict with your responsibilities. Trying to accomplish things at this point can make it, very, a lot more difficult than usual. And it could be, nefarious energy that you're dealing with in general. It could also challenge trying to accomplish things at this point in time. Let's say if you have the transit, Black Moon Lilith is in Leo in the fourth house as an example. It could be dealing with a very domineering or overbearing or bombastic home or family member, or someone you're simply close to home with. Another thing too, is that, looking at this as well, okay, the midheaven is also associated with the dominant parent, which is often the father. And the thing about, this transit is, Black Moon Lilith can be associated with death. It's comparable to Plutonian energy. If you're dealing, with some kind of death, whether it may have transpired recently or something that you're still, you're thinking about, like, it could have been years ago, somebody may have passed away, and you're trying to, do activities with the dominant parent again, which is often the father, or just, whether responsibilities or career-related endeavors, what have you, anything associated with the midheaven. Naturally, it can cause more of a diversion, distraction, and make it more difficult to do those things at this point in time, more so than usual. Now, another thing to is that midheaven is also associated with older people and authority figures as well. So this could be a time, if you're dealing, with this negative energy, connected with the Black Moon Lilith. Say if the transit of the Black Moon Lilith is in Virgo, it might be, very worrisome or judgmental or critical energy. And maybe the, older people, authority figures, even the dominant parent, which is often the father, may be not in agreement with this. It may be, maybe you're being overly exacting. It might cause conflicts, with these people. As an example, it might be, something too where, this is also, midheaven is also associated with the reputation and public image. So it can be a situation where, if you're dealing, with somebody, Black Moons can be connected with a formidable adversary, powerful enemy. And if you're dealing with somebody at this time, that is that what I just stated, then naturally, and they may be trying to do something to vilify you, to bring you down, as far as ruining your reputation and public image. If the midheaven is in Virgo, it might be a public image that you're trying to show others as nearly being, flawless or perfect, and they may be trying to do something to smear you, or to bring you down, and say, well, this person isn't nearly as scrupulous or flawless as he or she makes themselves out to be, as an example. And it could be something too where, another thing about this as well, midheaven is also connected with success in life, and it might be a situation where, again, if you're going back to the fact that Black Moon Lilith is associated with trauma, whether it may be, physical or an emotional trauma, naturally it can derail you in terms of trying to attain certain success at this time. If there's some emotional, situation that you're going through, or it could be an actual abusive situation, like say if you have, the transit Black Moon Lilith and Aries in the 7th house as an example, you may be involved in some contentious or acrimonious situation with a significant other or marriage partner. Maybe you're dealing with some, kind of very violent physical abuse, as an example. And naturally, you're dealing with something on an emotional or physical level that's negative. Naturally, it can conflict with you trying to attain success. Now, the midheaven is also associated with social status and how we stack up with others. And the thing about, this transit is that if you're dealing, it could be, if you're dealing with somebody, Black Moon Lilith is also, it's not like completely negative. The Black Moon Lilith could also be connected with people that play a provocative role in our lives, people that figure prominently in our life scheme. And you might be dealing with maybe somebody prominent in your life may be experiencing some dilemma or problem that might be causing a distraction to you to do what you can to maybe do something to increase your business, as an example, which could ultimately improve, your social status and stature in life at this time. And that could be causing, naturally some complication trying to do that at this point in time. Now, the midheaven is also associated with recognition, notoriety, and the thing about this is, this could be, a time. And naturally, if you're dealing, again, going back to the fact that the Black Moon Lilith is associated with physical or emotional trauma, that could challenge you trying to get out there. If you're trying to get some notoriety or recognition for something, hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back, but anyway, the thing is, again, if you're trying to attain some kind of recognition or notoriety, you might have, some negative distractions at this time. Maybe you're dealing, with some very negative energy associated with the Black Moon Lilith at this time. If you have the transit of the Black Moon Lilith in Capricorn in the second house, say, it could be some situation, where maybe there's, something you could say, or say if the natal, Black Moon Lilith is in the first house, and it's making, say, the transit Black Moon Lilith is in Capricorn in the first house, and it's squaring the midheaven. It could be a time where maybe you're dealing, with feeling just outwardly very despondent or depressed, or there's something restricting about your physical body, maybe that you're actually you're worried about, and it might be you're being overly negative, general outlook is overly negative or pessimistic. Maybe that conflicts with you going out and trying to attain some notoriety and recognition at this point in time. So anyway, well, another way this transit may manifest, you might be overly fixated and obsessed with career-related endeavors at this time. Say, for example, if the natal midheaven is in Cancer, it could be doing something, career associated with laundry. It could be cooking or culinary work, real estate work, working as a career, being a historian or a home caregiver, as some examples. It could be also, too, there may be more difficulty to keep what you want suppressed, which is the Black Moon Lilith. Could be from the dominant parent, which is associated with the midheaven. Now, let's say, for example, if the transit Black Moon Lilith is in, let's say, it's in Pisces in the second house. It could be dealing with, maybe there's some gullibility, which is Pisces in a monetary scam. Maybe you didn't want the dominant parent, which is often the father, to know about this, or maybe there's something where maybe there is, say, if it's the transit Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio in the 12th house is another example. It could be maybe you were involved in some insurance or tax fraud because let's say Scorpio is associated with taxes and insurance. 12th house is the house of deception, fraud. That would be very isolated, of course. Now, another thing too is that trauma, which is the Black Moon Lilith, may adversely affect your responsibilities, which is connected with the midheaven. Now, let's say, for example, if the natal midheaven is in Aries, maybe there's some responsibility trying to deal with something with arson that you may be investigating, as an example, or having to confront somebody, or something with welding even, as another example. And you might be dealing with some physical or emotional trauma that may be challenging at this point in time. Now, also too, the people that are prominent in your life, which is the Black Moon Lilith. Now, they may conflict with what you're trying to accomplish, which is associated with the midheaven. Now, let's say, for example, if the natal midheaven is in Capricorn, it could be doing something. You're trying to accomplish something with accounting, construction, even mountain climbing. Has some examples. If you're somebody that's athletic and interested in that, that could be, let's say, that could be associated with Capricorn as well. And another thing too, it could also be where this is just a time or something that may be putting you in a strong state of fright or trepidation, might be causing issues with the midheaven in general. Just trying to focus on your career or your accomplishments and maybe activities with the dominant parent, which is often the father. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.